All right, hey folks. We are gonna work on some Spelljammer stuff tonight. My chair is slowly dropping. The hydraulics are starting to give out on it. I'm gonna have to replace this chair probably in the next couple months, if not sooner. Excuse me. Pneumonia, getting over it really nicely. Still got a bit of a cough occasionally. Sorry about that. Shouldn't be too bad for today. Okay, so the campaign that we're developing is characters in mecha, fighting kaiju, defending asteroid settlements from giant monsters. Spelljammer, Eberron, and Orbit. So let me peel apart the layers a little bit with you guys here. I'm going to switch my background here forward. Let me say, if you think that today's stuff is cool, we typically do game design and campaign stuff like this on Mondays and Thursdays, and also other type of game design on Saturday mornings. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. All the material that we're going to be using today is linked down here. The campaign workbench that we're on, the Eberron Spelljammer Kaiju Bastion Campaign. Mecha. Let's keep adding words to it. Mecha, Kaiju, XCOM, Bastion Campaign. It's an XCOM style game that we're running. Each Bastion turn is a week. Different kaiju will attack different settlements during that week, along with any downtime activity that the characters want to take. So when they're not fighting kaiju, they're on downtime. Basically at the barracks doing whatever downtime stuff they want to do. Researching spells, creating magic items, building new Spelljammer helms or mecha to pilot them with. Whatever the downtime stuff that they want to do. Like one of the communities has a potion factory, so they could spend downtime operating inside of that factory, generating healing potions for the team to chug while they're fighting kaiju. Whatever it is that they decide that they want to do, they're welcome to do that. But during the downtime, they'll be fighting kaiju. So we'll have one kaiju fight, one downtime activity, any orders that they want to issue to the different facilities that they'll have access to. And then a wild card. And then the wild card will either be, there'll be a selection of complications that arise as them attempting to issue orders to the different facilities. Whenever they fail a skill check to execute those orders, it creates a complication that has to be resolved before the order can be carried out. Once you resolve the complication, it carries out like normal. If you succeed in your skill check, the task, the order is fulfilled as normal, no complications. But you can only issue one order to each facility, each bastion turn. Depending on how many orders you have to issue is going to determine how productive your various facilities are going to be. And each bastion turn is 1 week. So during that week, your bastions are carrying out orders. Kaiju will attack one of the settlements, and you have whatever downtime you want, which could coordinate with an order or do something separately, like acquire a new feat or gain another spell, or do a contact other plane to get information about a target that you guys want to heist or something. Whatever it is that you're going to do. And then that wild card is going to be either that complication, or it could be a second kaiju attack, or it could be an endeavor that the players want to pursue on their own. Like, we know we have all this other stuff that's going on, but we want to specifically focus on infiltrating the fourth pirate of Lazar's trade network, for instance. That could be their adventure for this week. So we'll then, as a DM, I'll whip that up as an adventure, and over the next couple weeks, we'll play through that, get through the mecha combat with the kaiju attacking villages, and resolve the downtime and see what the results of carrying out the orders were for the bastions. And then the bastion turn will roll over. So I expect every 4 weeks in real time to be one week in the campaign of the bastion turn, and each bastion turn I plan to give the characters a new level up. So every 4 weeks, they'll gain a level, regardless of how much kaiju combat, dungeon crawling, negotiating, or whatever. It's just everything is advancing on a timeline so that when we start in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, from level 5 to level 13, we can rank up through over the course of 32 weeks, which is approximately 7.5, 8-ish months, assuming that we have to skip occasionally because of family and friends or whatever, sickness, blah, blah, blah. So that's the plan. So we've already spent a lot of time inside our building kit here. This is just a random illustration, you can ignore that. But I am going to grab these things and go Asteroid settlements, because we have 6 significant asteroid settlements in this campaign that the characters are in charge of defending. They're effectively the sheriffs of this cluster. And again, just to zoom out again real fast. Chunk. There it is. I'm going to drop that down here. So each square here is 10,000 miles. The maximum speed in this campaign that these Spelljammer / Eberron airships can travel is 10,000 miles per 24 hours. And so that's 1 square per day. So you can Super Mario World around the map between these different asteroid clusters that are inside of these clean air pockets that get generated by the various forests and vegetation that just naturally grow on these different asteroid clusters. There's like, little asteroids in between, like this no man's land here, this path, this air tunnel that leads, or rather air current that leads you to another, that keeps you inside of fresh air as you move to another asteroid community. There'll be a lot of little asteroids along the way that all have their own little forests or fields or whatever kind of vegetation grows on them, because that's what's sustaining the fresh air down the pipe between the different asteroid clusters. There's just an ongoing string of asteroids that when each of them has enough vegetation among them cluster up, they just start sharing air, and it creates these air flows in an orbit around Eberron, which is here at the center. It occupies, it's 8,000 miles diameter, so it occupies a 10,000 miles space using the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration system that I built and published on the DMsGuild. And just to shoot a link at that real quick, that is located right here, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. I actually have a number of videos in my pre-recorded videos channels on my YouTube channel here describing most of the variant mechanics that solve like siege combat, fleet combat, commanding squadrons using 5e action economy, scaling up speed from 100 million miles today down to 100 feet per round. It can be any scale in between depending on just how much you press on the engine. So navigation through astral space, all like ranking up crews and fleets to have more combat effectiveness using the 5e action economy. I have a bunch of videos about that on my YouTube channel here. Hey, new subscribers, thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, click Phil Kearney here and then just go check out the videos. You see those, and this whole book is 100% free preview. So all the mechanics that I'm using for the kaiju, the mecha, the spelljammers, it's all inside here, but there's no section that says, here's how to make kaiju, here's how to make mecha, but it does have all the rules for like giant, colossal sized objects causing damage and how much hit points colossal sized things has depending on how large they are, which curves nicely into upscaling monsters from the monster manual into kaiju by applying the size template that's inside the book. So we go down to exploration here, and we can scroll down, and hey, what's up? Hey, Gabby, it's good to see you. Let me see if my screen here is properly calibrated. Not quite. There we go. I've got full field of vision now. Thank you. Let's see. Void tracking. I'm just going through the rules here. Here we go. Object size and hit points. So the larger the size something is, the more hit points it has the more hit points it has. So a hollow creature, a hollow size is basically considered flesh and blood, squishy, normal creatures or ships. And because we have the combat mechanics for the ships, that's basically like wild shaping into massive size objects, but still using your normal action economy to interact with things at these larger scale. That's how you can have a mecha combat system, by just scaling up the size of the creatures from the 5 foot to 50 foot to 500 foot scale. And so a large kaiju at the 500 foot scale would occupy a 2x2 square, 1,000 feet, 2x2 times 500 feet.
Hey, what's up? Just finished. Hey, awesome, nice.
Yeah, I like what you've been posting. Thank you. So if we're looking at kaiju and they're 50 feet in size, every 50 feet that the kaiju has, if it's basically a hollow scale creature, like a cloaker was an example. A 50-foot cloaker would have an extra 100 hit points. A cloaker already has 92, so a 50-foot cloaker is going to have 192 hit points. But the siege weapons are doing like what? Like a trebuchet. You can fire a trebuchet basically once a round with a decent crew, and it does D8 times 10 damage. So if you can catch these kaiju out in the open, they're pretty easy to knock down. But if you don't, they're big enough to be damaging to the community that they're attacking for the food source, either by eating your flock of sheep or tearing through your crops if they're herbivore monsters or whatever. And at these smaller scale, it's difficult for large spell jamming ships to close in on them with guns for siege damage. And considering that we're in an asteroid community where there's just asteroids everywhere, and anytime something that's 50 feet or smaller is in proximity to anything that's 50 feet or larger, you can't target them with siege weapons because they have too much cover. So you'll hit the object instead of the creature because of how cover works with massive size weapons. But once you get over 50 feet in size, you get into giant scale. And that's like the size of a Spelljammer ship or larger. And so that would use up to the 500 foot scale, for instance. So you'd have an extra 1,000 hit points for up to a 500 foot scale. So now that cloaker, if it was a 500 foot cloaker, it would now have 1,192 hit points. Because it went from 5 foot scale plus 50 foot scale, and then the 500 foot scale, it now has 1,192 hit points. But its armor class doesn't change, its saving throws don't change. It's just bigger size, bigger numbers of hit points and damage. So it basically just scales up by 10. Up to 50 feet, it scales up like 2 dice, 3 dice, 4 dice, just like large, huge, gargantuan-sized creatures. But once you get to 50 feet, then it switches into 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet, 500 feet to scale up to basically 10 times the amount of damage that you would normally do with, like, say, a sword. So now you're doing like D8 times 10 damage when you hit with your 50-foot sword. And the kaiju, this cloaker is doing like 2d6 times 10 plus 2 damage when it hits with a tail attack, for instance, or can constrict and crush you for d4 times 10 damage per round. And your mecha is going to have like maybe an extra 50 hit points. Somewhere between like an extra 20 to 150 hit points, depending on how you stack up, like how you build your mecha. So your mecha can get knocked down quickly, but it also uses your own hit points. And any damage reduction that you have, and like warding bond, and like the protection the protection feat that allows you to take damage and gain resistance from that damage by taking hits for your ally. So your mecha can basically operate as just giant size construct knight suits, or like Warforged Titans from the Eberron campaign, or Gundam, or Evangelions, or whatever your favorite kaiju flavor is, whatever your giant robot of choices. If everybody wants to really get into it, you could take a totem of the Lion Barbarian and make him like a Voltron, where when he uses his rage while inside of his mecha, he becomes a mechanized lion, and then you could build a Voltron force out of a bunch of barbarians if you wanted to. These are things that we're building with this rule set. So go ahead and check this thing out. 100% free preview. It's all here for you. And get that out of the way. So now we have, this is the location that we're at. This is the territory that we're in control of. And so flip that out of the way, and then wrong button. Blip, blip, blip. There we go. This is that specific square. Each square is 500 miles. It's a 20 by 20 space. That's roughly, that's 10,000 miles. So a Spelljammer ship can go from corner to corner over the course of one day, or essentially 1 square per hour. So during the course of the week, as part of downtime activity, the Spelljammer ship that the team has control of is assumed to be sending shipments back and forth from location to location to act as the basically the trade train that moves materials back and forth between these different communities. And you're the sheriff, so you're both the trade caravan and the guards that protect the trade caravan at 5th level, basically coordinating between these communities. So anytime something happens, we roll a d6 to see which community you're currently at, and then roll a d6 to see which location the kaiju is attacking. And that's how many hours it'll take for you, the distance in squares is how many hours it'll take for your carrier to deliver the mecha to then dispatch and attack the kaiju. Because of the asteroid fields, if you can get the kaiju to run away from the community, then you can take your carrier ship and start hitting it with siege weapons to try to kill it. But while it's close to the community, there's too much rubble and debris to effectively be able to use siege weapons from outside of it. So you send in mecha to go deal with that close combat scale amongst the community and buildings to fight the monsters. You chase them off. They get shot down with the siege weapons. Maybe you'll kill them. Maybe they'll get away. Depends on how you command your team and how you coordinate your actions. So there'll be one of those every Bastion turn, and then depending on just random events, there could be extra kaiju attacks, or the team could be poking a hornet's nest that contains kaiju threats that they'll then deal with in their mecha. But as the campaign progresses, they may have the opportunity to acquire more ships. So instead of them operating within the 50-foot scale, all of them can be operating ships separately at the 500-foot scale, like scorpion ships and squid ships and hammerhead ships, all the stuff that you would be familiar with, or like scorpion ships and spider ships. If you want to get into that sort of melee combat, just depends on what kind of combat you like, long range distance or melee combat with your ships. It just depends on the kind of build that your team has, and you'll find your own pattern there. So these are the communities, and we've already developed the communities out, each of them. Here's the Dwarven Citadel. That's our carrier trade caravan. And here's the basic mechanics for like the mecha scaling. We're at 2nd rank right now. So at 5th level, we'll have 20-foot mecha. And then we'll get to 9th level. 4 months in, we'll get to 30-foot mecha. And then the final month of the campaign, at the end of the campaign, will be in 40-foot mecha. The hit points scale up, and then you can purchase you can purchase modifications, and the higher rank you get, the more mods you can have. Like durable doubles the amount of hit points that you have. So it doesn't seem like 40 hit points doesn't seem like a lot for a mecha, but it's like plus the 50 hit points that you have as a character, and then you can buy durable to add on another 40 hit points. But once we jump up to 3rd rank, it'll be 60 hit points per durability, and you can purchase multiple durabilities if you need it. Or you could have Warding Bond active on your team using Cleric and all the other tricks that you normally have available to you to do damage reduction, which works in this scaling mecha system as well. But then you can, chug. They have a supply. They can get up to 24 healing pots per Bastion turn. That they can basically, if there's 4 people on the team, that gives them 6 healing pots per week that they can chug through each during combat. That'll give them an extra boost of hit points as bonus actions for them to utilize. Anyway, it'll be fun. The numbers work, and I'm really looking forward to having people throw up against it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So the Dwarven Citadel is the carrier ship, both as a bastion, as a floating citadel. It has resources invested into different facilities like the helm, workshops in the mecha hangar for them to be able to do modifications to their mecha and to develop new weapons as they gain ranks and additional information. The barracks, there's multiple barracks at 3rd rank so that they can have a large enough crew for them to man all the weapons that are on this 500-foot block of stone that basically has fortifications carved out of it with siege weapons poking out of it, that's designed to obliterate kaiju when you come close to it. So the game is, can the kaiju or space pirates or whatever raiding threat is attacking a community, are you capable of getting to that location fast enough to then engage them in combat? And if you can defeat them and drive them away, which assumedly you will with some fun, you can drive them away, and then that prevents the community from being destroyed. But if you aren't able to travel fast enough to arrive at the destination before the raid is over, that community is now damaged and has to go through the Bastion repair process, like the orders to repair and all the complications that can come up with being repaired, which could then become it's basically an ability tax. Like, you don't have as much downtime activity because you weren't able to prevent the kaiju from damaging the settlements, and now you have less action economy during your Bastion turn to do things with the communities, because one of them is in downtime repair right now. It can't do anything else for you. So you lose that resource if you can't defend it. So that just stirs the pot, and because they could be 6 hours away and it's only going to be a 4-hour raid. There's nothing they can do about it. They're just going to have to take the hit. But that becomes part of the narrative of what's going on in the campaign as it gets shaped by these different random events and how the team's able to resolve them. It builds a time-based progression of events that stack up into something with meaning, something that feels like a narrative. There's something happening here. We're seeing a pattern of activities, or the team just keeps defaulting into this sort of a result. And so we're getting this like meme-ish sort of vibe going to the game, like this is how we resolve threats. So that becomes the Saturday morning cartoon of like how this TV show works. This is how they solve their problems between Bastion situations, kaiju attacks, and their own personal goals of like, I want to go find my father. He became a pirate of Lazar 15 years ago, and now we're having Lazar conflicts. Maybe my dad is in there someplace and we can somehow negotiate some sort of peace. And that could become your sidelines, like, hey, because the pirates are going to become an issue at some point. They're on the table. They're going to get rolled eventually. So it's going to crop up as a threat. If you build your characters towards that sort of a background, when that triggers, you can start diving your character's background into that to develop this meta plot going on with character interaction that's going to allow you to open up a different level of disposition so that your results could, instead of being hostile or neutral, maybe shift up to neutral or even friendly. So you end up somehow allying with the pirates. Like maybe you guys decide that the unsealing court that's taking over some asteroid territory is a bigger threat than the pirates are because of their horror stories of fighting the unsealing court. And so they're like, oh, well, maybe we should team up. If that's the direction that the team goes in, super cool. There's like all sorts of little things that are happening in the sphere around them that they could decide to glom onto because they think it's cool. And that just becomes their chosen task when they have the bandwidth to pursue their own goals. Let's go do that. So I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea where the campaign is going to go. I'm encouraging them to be as much co-authors in the campaign as I am as the DM. They're helping me build the story of like what's coming up in the next episode. And it's my challenge to take that theme that they're aware of and like, what are we trying to achieve here? And then I build the challenge out of it so it's something fun they can fuck around with for 3 or 4 hours. So that's the plan. That's the goal. So I haven't quite ran a campaign like this at this level of aggression. This is how I run my weekly campaign at work, but it's only 1 hour a week. It's really super casual because it's very, very low speed. This is going to be this is like 3-hour sessions each week. So I'm speeding up what I normally am used to doing by basically 4 times. So it's going to be aggressive for me. So it's an experiment, and we'll see how it goes. But wish me luck. So we have all the different communities that we've built out. And there's 6 of them. And so now I want to, we've already gone through and built out each of the settlements using the Bastion mechanics that we have been working on here online for the past year. And anyone that's interested in that, here is a link to that. It is a read-only document to you guys, but this is the full campaign. And if you want to jump into if you go to Phil Kearney and then jump into some of my live stream channels, you can look at the Bastion Campaign playlist that we've been building for well over a year at this point. This thing is crisp. This is the basic mechanics that we've been using to develop all the settlements, all the guilds inside of those settlements and rivalries. It's a comprehensive system that takes what is in the Bastion system of the Dungeon Master's Guide 2024 and expands it into a skill test that your rank determines basically like your proficiency in performing that task on a scale of 1 to 5 difficulty. 1 being first level, 5 being 17th level. It's just proficiency progression. The difficulty of achieving different tasks at different ranks is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it uses the bounded accuracy curve of the 5e game engine to basically convert land and guild management into a series of skill tests that when you succeed at the skill test of like your laboratories attempting to develop a new alchemical property that you can use as throwing acids. Now you have grenades. Cool. So that might be a DC 15 task. Just a second rank. It's like a vial of acid is like 25 gold or 50 gold or something like that. It's like you make that like maybe a second rank task because it's kind of in the realm of low-end magic items, being able to chuck these things out. So you give it a DC 15. If you hit 15 or better, you've developed the formula. Now you can start making it, starting next week. You can start making that stuff at whatever gold piece value you have at the rank of your factory. So I can create, like the Potion Emporium can create 24 potions per Bastion turn because it has 3 different facilities that's pumping out 8 potions each week for up to 400 gold. So 50 gold per potion times 8 is 400. That's the maximum capacity of a second rank laboratory. So it can make 8 healing potions in a single Bastion turn. And it has 3 laboratories inside of its property. So you can issue 3 orders for all of them to create healing potions. That's all it can do. Like that's all it's doing. It's barely even, it's just burning through its resources to build you shitload of potions. You're gonna have to make sure you can keep them fed. So like you're going to want to pump effort into developing that Bastion so it becomes more capable of providing for itself and producing potions for you. And as you gain ranks, you'll get higher rank, you'll get higher level magic items. Like instead of just being a common, it'll become an uncommon and then rare, very rare, and we'll cap at very rare, but potions, like it's 66 plus 36 hit points when you produce one of these things, but like it can make like 15 of them per week once you get up to that rank. So we're gonna have basically hit point juice, like go juice, just constantly pumping through the characters inside of their mecha. They're always gonna be stocked up on healing potions if they decide to invest in developing that laboratory to develop that heal juice for them. So these are the mechanics that we had used to be able to do that. So like this book is designed to let you do that. So you can build your facilities to provide you with the resources and capabilities that you want for your characters to perform the type of adventures that they want. And then the DM can lean into it. If you failed that DC 15 die roll, something went wrong with you developing the formula for the potions. So you need to figure that out, and that becomes a side quest complication to resolve, or if you don't want to go on a side quest, it then becomes a second ability check that a different facility in your Bastion has to pursue because the laboratory ran into a problem. Now we're going to, like, say, use recruiting to hire a chemist to try to break down what went wrong with our formula to try to give us a better answer. So now we have to recruit somebody. It's still a DC 15. We've failed with crafting, so now we're going to use the recruiting order to try a second die roll, and if that succeeds, then that chemist will be able to help us, and we can resolve that complication starting next week. And if we fail, then the complication continues. Like the chemist can't figure it out. Or when the chemist tried, he caught some sort of magical disease. It's like, whoa, wait, this is escalating. That's weird. Yes, that is now officially weird. And your players might want to get involved with it, but you didn't make any progress that week. So this next Bastion turn, you still don't have your formula because the chemist you brought in has a weird magical disease now. Do you want to help him? Because if you don't, he's pissed. So this becomes bullshit that your players have to deal with because they're trying to get access to free healing potions, basically. Well, I'm going to give them to you, but you're going to have to earn them by going through this adventure to heal, to take care of the curse, so that the chemist can help you. And maybe, like in the healing of the curse, you find out how to complete that potion. So now you have a formula for making healing potions that has a unique origin that we can now start leaning into. Like this magic curse idea starts infusing all of the magic and mecha that the characters build. So maybe as we advance the frames of our mecha, they become more and more accursed. So they become like more chaos soldiers from Warhammer. They become warped maybe, and maybe one of the players has like an ancient old one as their patron. So like we really lean into the tentacle shits. Like when we power up and get into our mecha, they just slowly start to change into like tentacle beasts that we go fight other kaiju against. So it becomes like a kaiju, like a tentacle beast versus elemental theme or something. Who knows? But I mean, maybe that's the direction of the game. I don't know. But that's all the stuff that we can do. So since we built out these facilities, we have like Capital Rock here. It's Capital Rock. It's the center point. Here it's the top rank, it's third rank, it's location number 1. Location 2, 3, and 5 are second rank. So first rank is a hamlet, then a village, then a town, city, and then metropolis. So right now our population caps at third rank. We can't get bigger than a town in any of these asteroid communities currently unless something changes that gives them a lot more resources to suddenly expand quickly and have a reason for people to want to migrate there, to expand their population, to grow to these larger rank communities that then use all of the bastion checks and stuff the same way as the Dwarven Citadel does, but just at tens of miles scale instead of 5 feet or 500 feet. So it's just a larger scale operation using the same ability check system that our characters use, that the crews of the ships use in siege combat, the hirelings and the bastions use. It all uses the same skill system to be able to achieve downtime activities, researching stuff, finding out information, blah 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 blah, crafting stuff, all the downtime stuff that characters can do, expanded out into what happens when you have a whole bunch of hireling and henchmen that help your character or can do it for your character. It's basically this crew of people become the same level of skill that your character has if they're trained and ranked up to be equal to your proficiency bonus. So they're basically like their CR increases to be able to keep pace with what you're capable of doing. You're always hiring up or training up your hirelings to be able to oversee operations of higher ranked facilities capable of doing things your character can do. It's almost like having sidekicks at the guild level that are just basically producing things and finding out information for you and researching things and gathering new resources to set up for the next type of magic items that you want, and researching the magical formula that you need for the magic items that you know you're going to want when you go fight those that colony of gargoyle that have taken over that asteroid system over there, blah 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 blah. This is what it's designed to do. So it operates at multiple levels at the same time, both at the socioeconomic level, the mecha kaiju ship spacefaring combat and fleet combat level, and then all the way down to the 5-foot scale where we've broken into the pirate Shah's fortress, and now we're crawling through the fortress to go find the diplomat and rescue them, or kidnap the Shah so you can negotiate from a point of power, that sort of thing. We have all those different scales operating at the same time over the course of a 4-week period of games, which is one Bastion turn a week inside of the game. So we have we're peeling apart this community. We're going to take this asteroid and we're going to build it out. We're basically going to do some light mapping. Mapping. So I'm going to grab here, drop this away. Here is when you take a 20-sided die and you splay it out flat like this, it is a series of 20 triangles. And you can ask any AI search engine, what if a 60-mile asteroid, an asteroid with a 60-mile diameter, what is the length of each line on the triangle? You can pretty much ask it exactly that. And in the case of 60 miles, the answer comes back each side of each triangle is 31 miles. So this is, each triangle here is 4.5 squares wide. And so that means each square, and this math is 7 miles. That's a weird math. So it's 60 miles though, so it has to break down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and the circumference. This would basically be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically 20% of each circle. Like if you broke the circle down into 5 sides, like a pentagon, this would be this line here. And this line here are the 2 edges of that pentagon that you would be looking at. So each side is 30 miles. If I were to use like I could probably, maybe we could find like a 5-mile square. So if we had, each side is 30 miles, that should be 6 squares per side. So that would probably be a more fun size, but I don't think my map is wide enough for that. Let's find out. So I'm going to. Oh no, maybe it can. Hold on. I'm in the fuck around and find out phase right now, guys. So we're just messing around with stuff, but we're setting up the map for us. Let's just go to full width here. Let's see how this ends up. Maybe life is really that convenient. Let's assume life is convenient and start here. So this is a triangle, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Isn't this awesome? Holy shit, we just hit the jackpot in reality. This is, oh my God, that's so perfect. Okay, so in this map, a 60-mile diameter asteroid is 5 mile squares. That's perfect. So if you're going on a horse, you could do, a horse would easily pull off 1, or if you're running, it'd be 2 squares per hour. Your mecha can fly 1,000 miles per day. So it has, if you're in mecha, you can go anywhere on this map basically instantly per round. Which is the point, because when a kaiju attacks a community, this is the battle map that you guys are basically operating on at the 5-mile square scale. So you have the 5-foot scale, you have the 50-foot scale, you have the 500-foot scale, and then you have the 1-mile scale. And then it goes to 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles, and 10,000 miles per round equals 100 million miles per 24 hours, roughly. So that's your spelljamming scale from 5 feet to 10,000 miles per round. And then 10,000 miles per round is 100,000 miles per minute, is 1 million miles roughly per 2 hours. Per 10 minutes, and then it's 20 million miles per 2 hours. 100 million miles per 2 hours, and then 100 million miles per 24 hours, roughly 10 times longer than 2 hours. So that's how you scale from 5 feet per round to 100 million miles per day in basically 13 steps. But I digress. 5 mile squares. So basically the mecha can do 1,000 miles per day, which is 100 miles per 2 hours, which is 10 miles per 10 minutes, which is 1 mile per minute, which is 500 feet per round. So basically the mecha could move through one of these squares per minute. So 5 miles per minute is basically how fast your mecha can go in the system. And so if you're closing distance with a kaiju that, like, say we're here and the kaiju is over here. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 18 rounds away. So, or 18, it's 18 squares away, and you could do, 2 squares per, 5 miles per minute. So we're gonna need to have the carrier ship drop us. So this is gonna end up having to be I'm mathing through this. So we can do, this is the space, this is a 1, 2, this is a 30-mile square area. If we can do, I like the idea of 30 miles per round of movement at higher speeds. So let's look at that. 30, I need a darker color. There we go. I'm mathing around, so bear with me, guys. If we're gonna do, so 30 miles per round equals 5-mile step, just to have the normal 6 squares of movement that you would have at the 30-foot scale of movement, right? So 30 feet equals normal 5-foot scale, and then 300 feet, and then 3,000 feet, and then 30,000 feet. Here's where we're at. That's 4 times scale. So 5-foot scale, 50-foot scale, 500-foot scale, 1 mile scale. So we need to be able to operate at 1 mile per round, 10 miles per minute, 100 miles per 2 hour. Nope, sorry, 100 miles per 10. Let's see, 1 mile per round, 10 miles per minute, 100 miles per 10 minutes, 1,000 miles per 2 hours, 10,000 miles per day. So to have a 5-foot step per round, we have to be operating at the 500, we have to be able to travel up to 10,000 miles per day. Mecha can't travel that fast. So that is the speed of a spell jamming ship. There's major helms and minor helms. So major helms can go, in this campaign, we had it set at 10,000 miles per day. But now I'm thinking we're gonna have to change that scale. So if we increase the we can, instead of having a minor helm, which is a 400 gold piece item, it's an uncommon magic item. Instead, we can equip the mecha with major helms, which are the ones that can do 10,000 miles per day, which is the speed that we need to be able to operate at 5-mile squares per during combat. So this would be a true combat field that the ships would be able to basically move 3 squares and then hit the kaiju here during a normal round of combat, or like jump over here 3 squares, deal damage, and then move 2 more squares, deal damage, and then move 1 more square and then deal 1 more damage, like attack. Like 5-mile squares, that's the scale of movement that we can move across this asteroid. So that means that we have to have a, oh shit, using the same layer. That's a bad idea. Let's cut this out before I make any more mistakes. So we can do that. That's spell jam. That's major helm speed. 10,000 miles per day equals 5-mile square steps. So my original plan was to start the team with minor helms, which only can do 1,000 miles per day, but that means that they can only take 500-foot steps. So it would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would take 5 minutes from to get from one end to here while they are in Mecca, in a minor helm. If they're in a major helm, they can do that in 5 rounds. So each square becomes basically a 5-foot square for the mecha. Even though that's a 5-mile square, that's the speed that they're operating at. But they can go from stopping on a dime, they have hover speed. So you can go from high speed to low speed, and you can switch gears during movement to drop speed to get within range, like 50-foot scale range to fight the kaiju. But you're able to pursue each other at the 5-mile scale. So you're able to operate between those different scales depending on what you need in the moment. If you're just chasing the kaiju around the community and doing ranged attacks at them whenever you get within a square of them, then they're going to continue to run away from you so they don't get hit while they're trying to steal stuff off of the map. You're trying to defend that from happening. You're trying to protect the community from being destroyed. So you want to close distance and then engage it with combat, so it's going to want to run away from you. So you probably have to chase it, catch it, knock it down, and that's how you're going to have, because the kaiju is going to be constantly wanting to move away from you, taking damage, but maybe trying to feed, instead of attacking you, being willing to take the damage and hit different, like if we have different base points, like if there's a community here, like this is a sheep farm here, and there's like crops here that are connected here. Like maybe this is like a large strip of where crops are being raised, and down here, this is like up like towards the pole. This is where all the pinewood forests are at the north and southern poles here. So both ends of this, because there's a lot of lumber on this asteroid. That's why it was originally one of the it was the original anchor point in this asteroid cluster, is because it had both good fields and it had good forests. So it's ideal for building and creating population. And then there's other asteroids that are within a day's travel that are basically electrum and iron mines. That gives them a source of trade and economy through the electrum, and the iron gives them the missing component that they needed to be self-sufficient in creating stuff. And then from there, there's other communities elsewhere that have their own materials that the players get, that the communities get to trade back and forth and to strengthen their economic bonds with each other, basically improving their, like whenever you build a trade route with another location that is of equal or higher rank than yourself, you get to add an additional you basically get to roll with advantage when you're making a lifestyle check to see what level of materials and wealth are available in your community right now. So the more trade routes you have connected with similar sized communities, the more dice you get to add to increase the chance of getting near 20. Because it's like multiple stacking advantage, where you're going to keep the best result that you roll, but the more ties that you have to each other, the more advantage dice you get to roll. So I mean, you only get to roll 1d20, but the proficiency dice, you get to add more proficiency dice. So a second rank community, instead of having a +3 proficiency bonus, has a plus d6, so you could get anywhere from a 1 to a 6, depending on how well the community works together on that random. That's what the die roll represents, how well people work together. And then when you roll a 1, they didn't work together at all. If they roll a 6, they worked great together. So the more dice you have, the more likely the community is going to work well together to increase the proficiency bonus that you're going to get for succeeding your ability check. And that's how Bastion checks work. The skill sets, the skill point system. So the more communities that are set up that have trade, like this is a 3rd rank community here, but there's no other community in this cluster that's 3rd rank. So it needs to establish a trade route with a neighboring asteroid community that's 4 days away. And they did, but Pirates of Lazar are now in orbit, and they're breaking up, they're making it difficult to maintain that trade line. So if we can get that trade line established, we're going to be rolling better lifestyle rolls to improve the quality of material that will be available, because we have more trade with high rank communities. That's why Metropolis are so important, because they act as this hub that all the orbiting towns, villages, and hamlets can use to basically get resources that they need from the hub. Like Waterdeep has a 250-mile reach. There's hamlets 250 miles away that they know that if they need a spyglass, that they can get one from Waterdeep. It's just gonna take a while for the trade route to come back to us because we're such a low-ranked community so far away. It takes a while to get special orders. But we can, and when our community grows to a larger size, we'll start producing more materials that will strengthen the trade route between us and the next neighboring community of equal or greater size. Do you see how that kind of collapses together? It's a really simple system, and it uses like hex crawling of laying out properties and developing different communities, civilization game style, like Sid Meier. Love that game. But yeah, we have a bunch of, we have like the farm belt. We'll call it the farm belt. That stretches along here, and obviously this edge here connects to this edge here. It's just peeled apart. So while we're developing this, occasionally it's useful. I've done these before. I've been doing these basically since the World Builder's Guidebook, which was a second edition book back in, I want to say 1993 or 94. It basically taught this idea of how to lay out worlds and continents and weather systems around a planet using them as an icosahedron. I think that's the word. Icosahedron, thank you. D20. And basically, it's like you build your world as a D20 and put the grid underneath it, size the grid to the size of the triangles. That's your scale, start building. And these little asteroid communities are super fun because you get to use that same tech, but we're at the 5 mile scale here. It's like a farm is gonna basically occupy this space. A 5 mile space is a good sized farm when you're pushing it with ox. So like that's a good little piece of land you got going there. Like you can cluster a shitload of these little properties together and basically have 1 or 2 homesteads per square in this sort of a farm space. Up here in the forests where it's all, forest, this is just basically miles and miles of tree. So assuming that they're like say if they're working this square here and then next they work this square and then or triangle, then they work this triangle and this triangle, like they can literally cycle through 10 different squares over time. And like say that's what, a 30-mile square space. That is more than a 10-mile space, so that is town size quality. It would take 10 of these to basically support enough lumber for the needs of a third-ranked community with up to 10,000 people in it. Hey, look at that, we have 10 of them. That's pretty damn convenient. So this is actually 60 miles square on an asteroid is the perfect size for a community that can scale up to 10,000 people. So if I want to get to the 100,000 mile, like if I want to have 100,000 people on an asteroid, that's going to have to be a 600-mile rock. That would be the size needed to be able to have that city. But if I want to have, like, it could become a city with like 100,000 citizens, but for it to become Waterdeep with like 1 million people, it would have to be on a larger rock, which would scale up to basically 600-mile rock per 100,000 people. That then obviously we're looking at like the planet Toriel is like what, 7,000 some odd miles in diameter, and it can support populations of over 1 million people. So it works out. You just scale it out, and like you don't need to have 6,000 miles to handle one population, but like it's like 10 miles, 40 miles. No, it's what is it? What is the size of settlements? Hold on. Now I want to go look at that. Give me a hot second here. I'm making sure our scale works, because I know I already had it broken down, like how much land do you need for the size of population that you have, and it's just a simple scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5.
but it's down in the settlement section. So let's go down to governing bastions and settlements. There we go. Okay, so max area radius is 5 miles, and then 10 miles for a village. The minimum area. So more is good, but you have to have at least this much. So to have a city, you have to have at least a 100-mile radius. So we could potentially have a city, 100-mile radius. That would have to be 20 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So basically, this much territory is needed for 100,000 people. So we could potentially, on a 60-mile rock, we could potentially grow the scale to a 4th rank community, but it's going to be completely decked out. It's going to be like, it's going to, whatever that word is for a world-sized city, this is going to become a world-sized city. It's going to be eating up all of its resources as fast as it's producing it. And for them to get through rough patches, they're going to want to have a lot of satellite communities. Luckily, we have 5 satellites around them. So if we can find a way to juice up population here and invest more interest in developing this place for some reason, maybe some crazy magical resource reason that the team somehow finds or develops while we're here building this campaign, they may be able to have enough punch to be able to pull in settlers from other communities to start bolstering our population to expand up to 4th rank communities. Because by the time the team gets to level 13, they're going to be 4th rank. The equipment and the magic items and the mecha that they want are going to be a higher rank than what a 3rd rank community can provide. So they're going to have to connect somewhere with a 4th rank facility that can produce what they want so that they can improve their Dwarven Citadel to become a 4th rank workshop and mecha bay hangar and barracks and siege weapons and helm. They want to be able to upgrade their thing, but you can't upgrade if you're 3rd rank in a 3rd rank community, that community can't upgrade you to 4th rank. You have to go someplace and get access to the resources, knowledge, and manpower that can provide 4th rank quality that then elevates your status. So you have to recruit from that place, bring them here. You have to maintain a 4th rank level of lifestyle to attract them if you aren't already there. Like, you could be 3rd rank and try to recruit 4th rank people there, but you have to maintain a wealthy lifestyle. Otherwise, they bail on you. Like, hey, you aren't providing me the resources and the wealth that I want to service you out in this podunk town. I'm out. And then they bail. So you have to either gain that level of status or be able to maintain a lifestyle equal to that status for you to be able to have those resources coming to you, which is why having extra dice to roll when you establish trade routes with other communities is important, because it allows you to start overstacking to pull those people to you so that you can increase your rank. You see how that all narratively curves together with how the dice work? That's called ludonarrative, where the mechanics of the game complement the narrative of the game. And this is all just using 5e game engine stuff from the 2014 and 2024 DMG. This is just straight from that book. All these ideas and these mechanics, they're all in the DMGs. So 5e is an amazing game engine. So I want to, now that I've said all that, I'm going to cut this free and drop that in as a separate layer. I'm going to drop that down because we have our community, Capital Rock. Capital Rock has gardens, greenhouses. So Capital Rock has a population of 4,175 people currently, and it's losing them because of in-game complications that the team might solve. But their harvest materials is crop fields and wood forests. So we already talked about that at the poles is where the pine forests are at that they're using for their wood harvesting, and then the crop belt is the central area of the asteroid. The thickest part of the east-west part of the asteroid is where all the crops are at. So basically, it's attempting to expand and tame the entire asteroid, but they're still building. They're not there yet. What are they as a town? 3rd rank. We have a 50-mile reach. So that's basically a 10 by 10 space on this map. So we're going to start off by dropping a 10 by 10 space on the map. That will be the territory that is occupied by the village. And let's say, okay, so it's, hold on, it jumps from 50 miles to 100 miles. So that's 10 steps difference. For every 5 miles could basically equate to maximum population. So we're building up from a village. We're over 1,000 population. So the town is growing from 1,000 to 10,000. So that means for every by the time it goes from 10 miles to 50 miles, it will have, oh no, the minimum area is 50 miles. So when we get to town size status, I need to rebuild this table. I need to add a column here to make it easier. We need minimum population and maximum population so that there's no confusion here. And pop there. And then we'll have a minimum population of 10. Otherwise, it's not really a hamlet, is it? A minimum of 100, 101. We'll go with a minimum population of 1. How about that? And it'll go up to 100, and then 101 to 1,000, 1,001 up to 10,000, 10K1 to 100,000, and then 100K1. And there is no maximum population for metropolises. They're basically just multiple cities stacking up on each other, basically creating trade relationships with themselves by being your best next door neighbor. Fourth rank, fifth rank. That's kind of how it works. And then you just keep stacking more cities, like Waterdeep, as a metropolis can be broken down into 7 separate cities of each. There's 7 warrens in Waterdeep, and each of them could be third, fourth, or fifth rank. Like the wharfs could be 3rd rank, but there's also 5th rank commerce coming through the wharfs. So it's effectively 3rd or 4th rank unto itself, but part of the collective. It's part of the larger set. It's part of the 5th rank of getting access to basically anything you can possibly imagine through Waterdeep. So, but yeah, this helps solve the brain issue. Minimum area 5. I like the minimum area of 5 miles, but it doesn't have. I don't think I want to have a maximum area. I don't think that's necessarily important. Just the absolute minimum area. Yeah, it's still 100 miles plus. So depending on how many hundreds of thousands of people get stacked up onto you. Waterdeep, like they said, has a 250-mile reach. It's basically a 500-mile square that it occupies, because it has a 250-mile radius. That's a 500-mile square. Thank you. Very, very cool. So that is essentially the size of a metropolis. So maybe we should say, hey, isn't that a neat pattern? I can't believe I didn't see that before. But that makes sense. If you're going to actually have more than one city pulled into your space and stack up like that, then it has to have a much larger reach that's going to continue to expand. And this basically just means, like, this has to be the amount of resources that you're able to stamp into, right? Like, you're not going to have 500 miles of city. That's ridiculous. That's like Waterdeep occupies, I think it's like in a 10-mile space. El Terrell is literally inside of a 10-mile square. No, it's a 1 mile. It's a 1 mile space. El Terrell occupies a 1 mile space. Thank you. And is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I was thinking of Descent in Avernus. And yeah, El Terrell is 1 mile long and in about 4,000, like 3,500 feet north to south. Anyway. So now we have our scale. This works really, really well. I'm really happy with this. So we currently have a town with a minimum population of 1,000. Minimum is 50 miles. It'll scale up to a minimum of 100 miles, which means I need to gain 50 miles over the course of 10,000 people. So that would be 5 miles per 1,000 people, 50-mile minimum at 1,000. So like maybe we'll call it 55, 60, 65, 70. So we now have a 70-mile space. Our 4,000 people occupy. You see how that mass scaling up works? We have a population of 4,000, so 50 miles, up to 1,000 people at 50 miles, 55, 60, 65, 70, up to 5,000 people at the 50, 70. Yeah, there you go. So 70-mile space. So that means we need 70 miles, 5 squares per mile. We need a 14 by 14 square space. So what's our height here? We got what, 1, 2, 3. Let's go central. 14 is going to be, let's just start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is roughly the square space that our population of 4,000 grow. We have, inside this square space, we have enough resources and growth available to us for a population up to 5,000. If we want to then become 6,000, we'll have to tack on another 10 miles, which would be another 2 squares. So that'd be 2 squares this way and 2 squares this way. So we would have to expand to this size to get to 6,000, etc., until we're occupying a 100-mile space. 10 square by 10 square at the 50-mile scale, or at the 5-mile scale. 20 by 20 at the 5-mile scale. Sorry, thank you. So I need to convert this into triangles. So the best way to start is to go here and then cut. The old second edition didn't go into this as deep as I do, but this is my magic talent. This is what I've been gifted with the ability to do. So this is what I do. Oof. Okay. You guys are starting to get out there, ain't ya? Let's see. This is half the space. Like that. Wow. Okay. So on this side and this side, they've basically eaten up this much. Oof, you see that? Okay, and that's taking these dips and valleys into account. Actually, not so much. Hold on. Doing a brain check here. Doing a brain check. This should be a little thinner. It's close. 1, 2, 3, 4-ish. Yeah, I would say all this land. So basically, the only unoccupied territories they have right now is up here. So they only can really expand up to 5,000 people. They're gonna hit. Well, they can get up to 5,000 people here. The max they can cap at on this rock is 6,000 people. It can't do it. There's not enough here. This is the best they're gonna get. So for the team to be able to get into 4th rank stuff, they're going to have to go over to another community, or maybe if they can, Jesus, they would have to have so much commerce floating between the asteroid rocks that there would have to be multiple trade route trips each day with multiple Spelljammer ships, like a fleet of with 5 communities. They'd probably have to have 25, 5 routes per day. Now, basically, every 4 hours, have another route that's on its way to somewhere. That would be a lot of fucking traffic. they could get there. I could see them doing that. We could build out that idea as another cluster that is 4th or 5th rank that the team can then lean into. But this community in that timeline, in the 8 Bastion turns that we have, this will not be able to convert itself up into a 4th rank community. So the team is going to have to expand their sphere of influence over the campaign to get past the pirates, to get to the neighboring community. That's we're gonna call it. We'll make it a Brayland extension. We haven't really decided what the next colony is going to be yet, but right now I'm feeling kind of a Brayland vibe. But we'll see. Thrain might hit the button too. We'll randomly roll up to see what other nations have presence out here. We know Droyam's out here. We know the Lazar Pirates are out here. We know the Unseelie Court is out here from being dumped off by whichever plane it is that does the Sealy Court shit. I don't remember. But okay, so basically this is this. Yes. Okay, so this works. All this territory, all of this, every bit of this, roughly, is how much region they're currently making use of. Going across to here, down into here. Just being thorough. So the mid belt, we can draw forests and stuff on here, but we know what we need. We need to have the mid belt largely crops, and we know that the polar triangles are going to be mostly forest. I think we can afford to have the forest dipping further down into the mainland or into the belt. And I think that'll be a fun way to create some topography, like some break in terrain, to not have it too conforming to the shapes of to the triangles. That you want to have them kind of like organically spill down here like this, so that it feels more natural, you know. Something like that is what we'll end up doing. But we know how much territory is quote unquote tamed. So this whole forest regions up here. That's going to be basically cultivated, so they're rotating, like maybe they do 2 a year. It's like this one was last year, so we're not gonna like we're working this one right now. This one has been torn down and has just been replanted. This has had 10 years. Yeah, let's say it takes 10 years for them to chew up an entire square. So they only chew up 10% of it every year. So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Every 2 years they switch. So let's say they're here. So this is going to be sparse forest. This will be sparse forest. And then this will be decent forest, and then this will be thick forest. So they'll be cycling through there. That'll rotate from dense to light forest on a 5-point scale. 5 points again. How about that? So they're working this one right now. Maybe that means they're working this one right now too. So this one's been scrapped, and then this one's been scrapped, and then this one's good to go, and this one's good to go, and this one's good to go, and this one's good to go. This is the one that's being worked right now. Scrapped and scrapped. So that's our rotation. 1 year here, 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 1 year here. This will be good enough now, 1 year here, and then good enough now, 1 year here, 1 year here, blah, blah, blah. And then it just rotates 10 years around top, bottom, top, bottom. So that seems like a good enough cycle of replenishment to be able to hand wave the rest of it. It's like that's the area that they're working right now. Like, so what we know what that means is that if it's an herbivore that's attacking the communities, it's going to prioritize the central strip, which is where all of the plantation stuff is happening,
but it's also going to be interested in these high foliage areas as well. These are lush territory, and now we have to build a food cycle for the crops. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so we're going to rotate crops. So that will allow we're going to allow each field a year or rest or two. So if we're going to have a rotation, okay, so if it's 10 triangles to provide as a harvest, how are we broken down? We have 2 orders going to harvest materials, crop fields and wood forest. Wood forest is 3rd rank, crop fields is only 2nd rank right now because of the cold snap that's killing their crops. It's reduced the quality of their crops by 1 degree. So they're only providing 2nd rank, or only 1,000 people worth of food, when they need to have 5,000 people worth of food for them to be able to remain active. So they're now having severe shortages. They have a druid that's already doubling their crops. So that gives them 2,000 people worth of food on this place, but their crops are hurting. So they only have the 2,000. They need to have a crop of 5,000, but they can only currently provide crops for 2,000. So it's 2 out of 5. That means that there's 4 fields that are active right now. Let's put them in wide rotation. Let's do them like this. Let's break them up because Badlands. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4. They should be using basically 9 out of the 10. So every year they can allow 1 field to fallow. And like this is their fallow field right now. They are specifically ignoring that one for this year so that it can come back and replenish. And they're doing a rotation of like corn, wheat, taters, okra, and other types of root. They're having a rotation mixture of different types of crops so that what you need to do is you need to churn, because different types of plants eat different nutrients from the soil. So if you rotate your crops, some of them take up chemicals and dump others off as their shit. And then you move, so if you're rotating the crops, you're basically having them chase each other's shit and leaving their own trail of shit afterwards for the next plants to eat that want it. Your shit is their feast. So if you're rotating your crops properly, they're all feasting on each other's shit. You see how that kind of works? Plants are awesome. So you want to have these rotating crops of shit, like different cycles of stuff. And we'll just assume that there's enough variety in these cycles. If somebody wants to break down the nerdiness of what cascade, like what's the best cha-cha line to have of like between, like, God damn it. Okay, so corn, yes. Wheat for the flour, definitely. Roots, nightshade. Which could be like okra, peppers, tomatoes, eggplant, like low ground stuff. That's generally what nightshade is. And then what would this be? Corn, wheat, nightshade. What am I missing? It can't be fruit because those are trees. They're permanent. Beans. Thank you, beans. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we fallow. So let's say this is the proper cascade. So this is where our fallow is at right now. So we have beans. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, currently being worked. 2, 1, currently being worked. Should be fallow, but now has to be used. So, because the population size is expanding, so they're having less opportunity to let things fallow. Yeah, that's a problem. This one's being used, which is 3. This one's being used, which is 2. 1.
And then, yeah, let's say it's good enough. So X is follow. Sorry, that means I should put an X here. 4, 3, 2. Oof! Both of their ones are down right now. One is currently offline, currently offline, currently offline, and currently offline. There's a cold snap happening right now. That's a unnatural cold from a Frisia manifest zone where ice elementals are starting to populate the nearby asteroid clusters that are now turning into icebergs, quite frankly, and deal cold damage to you if you don't have an indoor helm. So the team has to spend modifications on their mecha to make them a sealed environment. So if they want to fight ice elementals in the Frisia plane, they won't freeze in their mecha. They can fight effectively. But that cold snap is expanding. It's not like it's their fault. They're just ice elementals. This is what they do. They're fucking cold, but the environment around them freezes as well. So it's just, we're elemental creatures. We're going to freeze the air around us, and that's going to drop the temperature of everything, which is causing damage to their crops. So they have reduced resources, right? Yeah, both of their 4s are out. Their 4s are active. 4 is beans. So their beans are doing okay. Number 2 is out. They got some beans. They've got some corn. They got lots of beans. They got corn. They got some nightshade going, and that's it. That's of all the supplies that they got going. That's all they got going right now. So they're having to increase trade with other communities, having those other communities spending more orders, creating more food, overclocking their own food production, and letting other harvesting, they're not doing as much mining, and they're not doing as much wood gathering as they normally would be, because they're shifting more of the resources to increasing food production through crops, because this community is falling short 3,000. So they need other communities to basically double their output to cover these guys' bases. And they have druids that are using the enchantments, the plant growth enchantment that doubles your food production. So this place isn't as bad off, because they effectively have 1, 2, 3, 4, effectively 8 of these, which will take them up to 4,000. They're technically only short a few hundred, so they only need to have other populations but none of the other communities are ranked 3. So the most they can produce is 100 people worth of supply. So for them, I'm just short a couple hundred people here. Well, I have to double my food output on that asteroid over there to do that. And I don't have a lot of people to do that. That's really difficult for us to pull that off. We're gonna have to potentially fail. But they need 2 other communities at second rank to produce an extra 200 food for that 4125 population. And when they miss their die rolls, these guys don't get the food, and those people don't stay to starve. They leave to other communities, to other asteroids, to try to start over, because I'm dying here. I have to leave. So this population has been dwindling, which is great. If it shrinks small enough, the amount of crops it can actually produce will be right size. But the only reason that's happening is because the crops are dying. So it's attrition. This asteroid community is dying if it can't take care of the cold snap issue created by the ice elementals that are now in proximity to this community. Ice elementals probably don't even know you're there. They probably don't even care. But you are going to have to somehow deal with that. That could be a major theme of the campaign if the team wants to. But that means you have to go off into ice space and freeze your ass off negotiating with 500-foot ice elementals that have tens of thousands of hit points, that barely even notice your little mecha. Get out of here, little thing. I don't even consider, your mecha is going to be 40 feet at that point, right? And it's 500 feet. It's Jesus Christ, you're huge. It's ridiculous. You're going to have Spelljammer ships to take on the Ice King like that. But that's just an idea. I don't know if the Ice King's actually up and running or not. X, and then slash, like that. Okay, so now we have all of our community resources resolved. We know we have forest here and we have crops here. Bob's your uncle. So we can take this and drop that down. That is our rough map of resource access. And currently, the absolute tips of the poles are where the forest is dying. So I can give us 2 of these back. Yeah, like that. That works. So that takes care of that. So now what we can do is we can overlay the actual community. So we have a population of 4,000 people in this community, and this is how here. Hold on. My brain just itched, so. Oh, wow.
Hey, thanks a lot for swinging by, people.
Appreciate it. I really appreciate people taking an interest in the stuff that we're doing here right now. Thank you. Again, all this stuff that I'm playing with, it's all linked down here. This is the campaign document that I'm working inside of here for the communities that we've been looking at. The Bastion Campaign work in progress. This is going to be on the DMsGuild eventually as well. That is the document that we've been looking at, the settlement population size and building things out. Looking at all the different systems that we have in here. It's all read-only, but it's just a playtest copy. Coincidentally, here is my Discord community, free access to anyone that wants to jump in. If you're interested in using this type of campaign, I am more than happy to spend time with you to coach you through how it works, because I'm still building the book. Once the book is complete, it'll also be 100% free preview, just like the Spelljammer document is. Yeah. It's just this is what I think the 5e game engine is capable of doing. So I want to build products and games using the D&D game engine, using D&D IP to create these ideas, so that you can build Waterdeep and have a Waterdeep operate this way. This is honestly, you can play this as a Civ game without characters. If all you did was issue orders and then use the orders and army system to resolve complications and conflicts, technically don't even need characters. But because it uses the same stats and skill system that your characters use for ability checks already, everything becomes a skill challenge. It's just a matter of scale at this point. So your characters can decide that whatever complication is currently happening, they don't want to make an adventure. Fine. You relegate that to hirelings. You issue a command for them to go solve the problem. They do the skill challenge, and if they succeed, they've solved the problem as though they were adventurers. And if your team wants to make up a story about how that happened, the DM can then weave that into the narrative of the larger campaign. So when the players do something, they get to describe what they're doing and how they do it. The DM gets to jive with them on that, and then, okay, cool. And then we'll, as a consequence, blah, blah. So now we're playing out this little narrative about what adventure, like what fixing team did you guys send in? What did they do? Let's talk this out. Like, this becomes part of our Bastion. Like, we have a 3-hour block of time to process a Bastion turn. When we're resolving complications, some of that 3-hour period of time is like a very high-level social exploration space with undefined NPCs where everybody basically has one type of die roll that they can make based on the type of order that they're issuing. And if we get into what is the narrative of that, the DM could then open up an opportunity. It's like, if you want to make something more out of this, how about we add on, like, let's play with this idea and have a couple more skill challenges attached to it to see what path that takes us down. And if we want to do that, we can. Or you can just say, hey, I succeeded on the die roll. I'm not really interested in the details of this right now. That's not my focus. So we resolve that. We now have our healing potions. I am actually really interested in that phantom warlock thing that's happening in the arcane study that seems to know crazy information, but also damages people's intellect when they communicates with them. I want to figure that out because that could become a sage. It's like, cool, let's make a sage out of him. And then as a DM, I get to come up with a way for that to become an adventure that's going to be mostly social exploration challenges as a sort of mystery negotiation process. That isn't necessarily combat, but in the middle of doing all of that, you're taking a break and fuck, kaiju attack 3 hours away. Jump into your mecha, go fight some 50-foot dark mantles, or maybe an Illithid ship shows up and wants to carve a hole in your planet for some stupid reason, who knows, whatever. Anyway, kaiju attack, you gotta deal with them, chase them away, deal with it. Whoo, man. I'm glad I can grow that arm back, and then sit back down and finish out your Bastion turn of downtime activity with the Warlock, figuring out who this Phantom thing is. And once you resolve that, now you have acquired a 3rd rank Sage, or maybe a 4th rank Sage. There's a dragon that is sympathetic to this community, that is acting as a hireling that can operate the teleportation circle. But it can also be built out into a Sage or as a special combat unit to defend against kaiju as it ages with the growth of the community that it attaches itself to. So the dragon, in it aging up from a wormling into an ancient, can go through these different scales of growth in ranks from 1 to 5, where it's expanding its realm from like a wormling might have a 5-mile area that it can control 10, 50, 100, and an ancient red dragon is the only dragon allowed in territory for the next 500 miles. Like, this 500-foot space is my domain. If you step into it, you are fucked. And dragons know this when they step into that space. They can feel these different zones of control that these high CR creatures command. So all throughout the world, on like Faerun and like Misty Mountains and whatever, like underneath Waterdeep, like Menzo Baranzan is a 5th ranked drow community. So like there's not going to be anything else within 500 miles of it. So like if there's like that Illithid conclave that's only 70 miles away, that means that they are basically given a leasing agreement to be inside of Menzo Baranzan's space. And what do you know? They have Illithid spies that work with them, and they feed them young male drow occasionally to feast upon, and blah, 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 blah. That's how they become such good negotiators for the Loth houses, because they keep eating the brains of their children and they learn the ways of their culture. It's actually pretty cool. But this system describes how these larger CR creatures of higher ranks command these larger spaces and are the alpha in their region, and everyone else has to serve underneath them, including communities being bullied by higher ranked dragons. A 4th ranked dragon is going to kick the fuck out of a 2nd ranked village of up to 1,000 people. What are they going to do against a dragon? They're going to organize! And now your characters show up and you help build an army out of them and you fight the dragon. And that's your adventure. So anyway, all that stuff can be done with this scaling system of bastions and settlements using ability checks at the same ranks of progress that your characters use and that NPC monsters use at these different scales. It all coordinates with each other into larger scales or larger scale or larger magnitude of environment, game, campaign focus. That's how it works. So Capital Rock, 3rd rank, we figured that out. We figured out our population. We have our harvesting materials. And we've sadly discovered that these guys are they're basically pushing maximum capacity. They're going to have to expand out into other trade routes to be able, they could add more people on here, but they need to have daily trade with another population center where you have two routes a day coming back and forth to be able to feed you the resources from those smaller satellites to be considered a massive, if it's part of a ferry system in a river town that you're pushing cargo up and down rivers all day, that's a functioning group. But if you don't have that river system set up, 10 miles upstream is a different hamlet. It's beyond 5 miles. That's New Hamlet territory. We can't bond together as a village unless we have this river system that's going to allow us to push goods back and forth between each other so we can have fast trade per day. Like a 10-mile stretch on a river, you can do that route twice per day. So Mississippi River, Missouri River, Ohio River, Damascus, no, that's not the right word, in Germany, Anyway, that's how trade routes work. So you can have these little hamlets through a water route become larger and eventually glom together into a larger community. And then whatever the most convenient location amongst all of them is, that's where the town forms. And the hamlets that are further out in less opportune bends of the river remain smaller, but then another town will grow up on the other side of them, and they slowly push together towards from a village into a town, into a city. And so that's like how El Terrell gets created across into a conglomerate there at the outlet of into the Sword Coast. Anyway, geopolitics. That's community work. If you're a Baron de Rop fan, he talks about that stuff a lot too. Check out his Dungeon Masterpiece. Clever title. Smart talks. But this is how you can take geopolitics like that and actually scale it using the 5e game system, using that bounded accuracy curve of 5 ranks of proficiency. That's how it all works. So that's the stuff that I geek out on. That's the kind of stuff that I build. So if you think that shit's kind of cool, again, anyone that wants to learn or get into that kind of a system, jump into my Discord channel and just let me know that you're interested in that kind of stuff and what you're thinking about. And I'm happy to spend time with people while I still have it. If I start getting too many requests, that might become a Patreon perk to have, geopolitical civic conversations on how to build the geology of your campaigns. But I digress. That's dreamland. Okay, so 5 Mile area, an actual. Let's go back to our document. So we're in a town, 50 miles, 10 by 10 space. We're larger than that. I think we only really need to have a 10-mile square be our central population. So I'm trying to break up the population into 4,000 people, and I'm looking at density here. So I'm thinking if it's population, the minimum area is going to be 50 miles for all the resources and stuff. And that's with 1,000 people. So that's basically 40 hamlets. And a hamlet can be a cluster of up to 100. So it's basically 42 hamlets. And a hamlet can occupy a 2x2 space. So like this is a hamlet. I need a new layer. That's 100 people. So let's see how this works out. I need 42 of these. Do I have 42? Let's do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 30 down the line, 45 down the line. So that makes sense because this entire belt is basically being used. So there's going to be basically up to 100 people working farmland. 50 people, it's basically 25 people per square is the population density out here in the fields. And we can double our pop. So in this area here, this area here has a population basically of 25 people, 25 per square, or 25 people per 5 mile square is what I'm trying to say. 25 people per 5 mile square. But we also have higher densities. So that's 25. We've got 1, 2 of those, and it was 15, so that's 30. 30 times, what is 30 times 25? That's 750. So that means minus 4125. We still have a population of 3,375 that we need to gather. And if we increase the density of that by 100-fold, that'll give us from the hamlet scale to the town scale. So 100-fold, that'll be 2,500 per square. So we would need 2 squares to be able to take care of this. So that'd be 1 square, 2 square. So if the village then occupies a 10-mile space, we can have, damn it, I closed the thing. I closed it before I remembered what it was, sorry. 750 minus 4125 equals 3375. Thank you. Which is basically 10 times density, 340 per square, approximately. We can reduce that density a little bit because we have people out here, 1, 2, basically 50 per square here, 25, 25, that's 100 per square here, 100, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 2,020, that's Jesus, up to 2,000 people. Okay, so we could have a much lighter density than that. We have 20 of them. It could be, yeah, geez, even with just 25 people per 5-mile space, that's pretty sparse. Wait, but this one's not active. Let's furrow some of that shit. This one's not active. This one is active. So that's 50, that's 200. We got 200 people working that. We got 200 people working this. We got 750 working crops. That sounds reasonable. Oh, we got another one down here, another 200 down here. That's the only 3 that we have going right now. Okay, cool. So, let's see. That's 600. So it takes us down to 2775. So that reduces the density down to 275 each, which is 12 times the density of basically 6 farms. Out in this 5-mile area out here, super low density. So like this is like 2nd-story buildings, and it feels like that would feel like a generic Western town, like High Plains Drifter or something like that, like a village. That would be that would be a town. That would feel like a town. So that actually feels pretty appropriate. 2,725. It's more than that. That is 800, so that's roughly 700. And this is going to be our metropolis area. And so 200 people, that means we have 1 hamlet, 2 hamlets. So we're this 200 people. We're going to have like a quote-unquote base camp. Base camp is going to be here. This is where everyone is actually at, but then they go out into the forest to gather materials from here. So we're making little clusters, like little civilization, like little community clusters. Each one of these has a base camp. Whether they're in use or not is another question. This one is inactive right now. This one is active right now. This probably has people that are active there, but acting more like furriers and trappers, perhaps. I will say this one's not in use right now, and this one's not in use right now. And this one's damaged. In use, and not in not. So that's 200, that's 200. Let's have a base camp over here. Base camp. base camp. 200. This one and this one. 200. And this one's just not being used. Oh no, this one's damaged. Nope. This one's damaged. Can't use this one. No, that's not right. Sorry. This is the one that's damaged. That one's ready to go. That one's ready to go. This one those are going to be good. Okay, and now we need the community clusters here as well. So let's say this is what, 5, 10, 15 miles. You can go all the way out and all the way back in the course of a hard day. We should probably have 2 hamlets per triangle. That sounds about right to keep, your pace and tempo down a little bit. Let's try doing it like that. So they actually have to impact 4 squares worth of materials, but their homes are basically all inside that cluster together as a hamlet. You see how that works? Does that make sense? Because people can do 30 miles of travel today on a hard day, and farming is hard work. So that can be translated into basically long marches every day, which you can do if you're not doing combat and other horrible violent activity. You can easily do a forced march, 30-mile march per day, no problem. Normally it's 24, pushing it to 30, you can do that. Farming would be considered 30 miles of work each day. Chopping wood, 30 miles of work each day. So these guys have a blast radius of square, 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 square. But they could go all the way out to here because that's 5, 10, 15 miles, and then 5, 10, 15 miles back. They can do wood almost out to the tip. And this is the area that they don't quite need to be in yet. We already determined that earlier. They only need to come out to here. So they only have to go out at most 10 miles away from base camp per day. That's pretty easy for them to do. This is a reasonable workload for them. You see how that works? You break up these territories into small bite-sized chunks that people can maneuver around inside of, and now we're starting to see where this is dotted with, if you were to fly by this in your Spelljammer ship, you're going to see a ton of little spots of light throughout this D20 that's in space here rotating, and these are all the points of light during festivals and stuff. And you can occasionally see some campfires up here and down here towards the poles where the forests are at. But this is where the major population center is at. This is where all of the actual hub of activity is happening. So you have 100 people in each one of these. It's 100 people per triangle, or rather oh wait, hold on. What is this? How many squares do we have in here? I need to make sure I did that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 times 25. $450. 450. Is that how many people? If it's 25, why did we say it has to be 25 people per square? Because we had 45 10 by 10 spaces to break up the population. So that's right. So we put them down to 25 per square out here for 4 squares, that's a total of 100. That's right, it was 100 per triangle. So this is going to be 50 people. This is going to be, yeah, each of these is 50 people. Thank you. I had to think that through here real quick. So 75. What is 75 divided by 50 equals 75. Sorry, 750 divided by 50 equals 15. Thank you. So how many? So that's how many of these 50-person thorps, hamlets. How many do we need? We need 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 3 more than we need. We're going to keep them closer to the community, and we're going to thin them further out. So we're going to get rid of this one, and this one. These have 50 each. So there's some blank space over here. There's some blank space over here. So I think where these empty spots are at is where the forest expands. So let's drop this down. See how this is all coming together? So we can put forest comes down here like this. There's forest everywhere except for the very, very tip. I'm gonna push this one up a little bit away because it would have been chewed up a little bit already. So you can see how that would wrap around into a round shape, and you'd have this thick forest past the mid-belt that kind of droops down a little bit here, sort of further away from the major population center. And then we can do the same thing down here. Oh, wait, wrong way, like this. There's a good gap here. Let's drop down in here. And let's peel up away from the town here. And then it starts to drop down here. There you go. So this here is the thinnest point of open farmland. And then the broadest bits of farmland are here adjacent to the community. We don't have any real mountains or anything like that. It's only 60 miles. It's too small for, I think it's too small for mountains, but we could drop some odd-shaped ridges in here. So let's drop down the opacity of the forest here, and let's create some artificial mountain stuff. To help add narration. So this will be a topography line, like an elevation line. I need to curve this one off a little bit like that. So you wrap that around like this end touches to this end, so it creates that loop. So this is a higher elevation. And then we'll have higher elevation here. Like that. And then we can do similar down here. We'll have this be a little less cantankerous. Down like this. Perfect. And then, yeah, just that one elevation line. And then this is the lowlands. So that's our topography.
We're gonna have some water here. Comes down off stream. Oh yeah, we should do this as a separate layer. So that's our topography. And then we'll drop the opacity on that a little bit so it doesn't get in the way. And this will be water. So we're putting we're putting a big pool here, and that's being fed in from rivers here and river here. And then this is going to, like this. This is going to flow along here and form another pool here. So that means we're going to take these squares and we're going to pull them a little bit closer. Oops. Yeah, pull these a little closer as well. There you go. So the least populated area is going to be roughly here. Yeah, and here. Yeah, this whole stretch through here, that's like their lowest population density. There's not many people out there. You can have these water hazards here. We can drop in some blue so it feels a little less hazardous. Wrong layer. Let's go to the proper layer. Okay, so here's the thing. If we pan back out again and look at the community as a whole and look further out again, here's our orbit, right? Eberron, here's our paths of our moons. Here are the asteroid, the clumpings of where the asteroid communities are at. Each asteroid community and the chain of little insignificant asteroids between these clusters, each of those have asteroids that have forest, fields, some sort of like coral, depending if it's a ground or a water theme in those particular asteroids, either or. And there could be like air spores and stuff like that for like air, earth, and air, ground, and sea. 3 different biomes that can exist inside of these asteroid clusters. So as you're moving from one cluster to the next, you're running through these small microbiomes that have their own unique features on your way to these different clusters. This is the cluster that we're in. That's a 10,000 mile space that it occupies, just like Eberron occupies a 10,000 mile space. So zooming in again, these are all various asteroids that are large enough to be, miles in size to be notable. Each one of these squares is 500 miles. These asteroids are not to scale. Like this asteroid is 60 mile diameter, for instance. This one I think has a 40 mile diameter. No, like 25, this one's 40, I think this one's 30, I think this one's 45, etc. Anyway, but the ones that we have marked here are large enough to be at least 10 miles in size, but aren't currently populated. So you can see how there's a stream of them moving down this airflow, and there's a stream of them moving down this airflow. There's enough small little pockets of vegetation and floating tumbleweed and stuff like that that's generating oxygen, that it creates these clean air zones that we use to travel as highways around in orbit as we move from cluster to cluster. So when we zoom into the community level, this asteroid community that we've been building here sits inside of this cluster right here in orbit. And so this airflow that's coming through here breaks here. I think it goes that way. So the airflow comes this way and breaks here for whatever reasons. It's just the flow of
It's just the airflow. So we're at a neat little crook here. If this actually led somewhere it's interesting, this may have developed at some point into a strong commerce hub, but it doesn't, so it isn't. It was at one point when people were still exploring off in this direction, but this ultimately became the stronger point up route here, and then that's where the resource hubs connected further up in orbit, off in this direction, over here. No, sorry, blip blop. This is where the 4th rank community is at. So this is ultimately who the team trades with. There's interesting points here. The Pirates of Lazar are here, and the Sealy Court is here. So this is the community that we've been having trade with. Droam is here. There's another, I think, 3rd rank community that's over here that's building good ties with this community here. We're not as good. We have to either go through the Poison Sea or we have to deal with the Pirates of Lazar. Luckily, the pirates are being occupied in a siege for this asteroid control cluster here versus the Unsealy Court. We don't know why these guys aren't concerned, but they don't. Maybe they already have brokered some sort of deal with the Unsealy Court to remain neutral in the conversation so that the Fae can take out the Lazarians. And they'll ultimately have to fall back to where Droam, they were originally over here, but Droam took over this territory and drove out the pirates. So they migrated across the Poison Sea to take route over here because they picked up on the route between your community and this community. So they decided to intervene and start poaching. And then Sealy Court showed up down here and started picking a fight with the pirates. And so there's a whole kerfuffle that's going on down over here. But this is a trade route that's important for our community to be able to grow and eventually get access to 4th rank resources and hirelings to expand the rank of our Bastion's facilities. Once we get to 13th level, if we can't get 4th rank facilities, our Bastion is falling behind rank of our character's progression in the campaign. They might not work out an agreement. It might not happen. So they might be stuck at 3rd rank facilities even though they're operating 13th level characters with 4th rank capabilities. None of their facilities or hirelings will be able to support that level of work. So they'll be kind of capped on their resources in that sense. So that's a different thing that they're gonna have to fucking try to figure out. Because all these different things that have to be massaged and nuanced together, either as active adventures or as orders that they relegate to their bastions and hirelings to perform as orders to carry out using the skill check system we've been talking about. And your characters can be your players can be as involved in this stuff or as little as possible. It's up to them how deep they want to take it. But as a DM, you can see here that we have all these mechanics in place that allow us to develop these communities. So what we're currently working on here is, like, we don't have to have our own weather system on this asteroid because it's part of that larger airflow system that's delivering rainwater and stuff. Like, water is being picked up from these lakes and rivers and is being carried in the wind to the next asteroid. And then that's going to dump water there, or it's going to pick up more rain, and you're going to have a storm front come through the airflow occasionally. It's just going to dump a shitload of rain on all the asteroids for a little while before it's done and it goes away. There's no unified down direction. There is the orbit that all these asteroids are basically inside of. Like, asteroid systems naturally bend themselves into a sphere, or rather into a disk. Even though the whole sphere of this, like if this is 3-dimensional, the whole sphere would have air in it. It's just that the vast majority of it, north and south of the central spiral, is going to just be fouled air. It's poison sea. That's what this green is inside of these air pockets. This is the vast majority of this crystal sphere is full of poison sea. That when you breathe, that the air quality is so poor that you are poisoned until you can get a fresh breath air someplace else. These airways, these little air pockets that are growing around the vegetation of these asteroids inside of the paths of these moons, the moons fly by in orbit and they pull atmosphere with them.
So you get these weather systems that chase after the moons, we'll figure out which ones, but some moons have rainstorms that always follow them. Whatever it is about that moon, it pulls the water and it drags it with it to the next cluster. So like Frisia, I can see Frisia bringing snow. And Frisia is in orbit right here. So anything that sweeps through this orbit, you're probably going to pull moisture and snow with you, so there's going to be snowfall as Frisia comes by. This is Furnia, the plane of fire. It's going to dehydrate and cause a heat surge or a drought whenever it comes by, or wherever it comes by. So these different, we have Shavareth out here, the battleground. I can see storms following it constantly, because storms kind of goes with battle. That kind of jives together. So I can see massive storm systems following Shavareth in the furthest orbit wherever it goes. So these are things that we can decide, like which moon, what weather comes with a moon as it crosses by. And so it's going to basically pull that weather pattern along with it, causing all this different type of weather patterns and mixture happening, so that you have this viable airflow that's happening around the planets in these asteroid clusters. So you don't have to worry about the individual atmosphere of this individual asteroid. It's inside of a larger weather complex that it's just a piece of, that it gets to benefit from. So we can have water on these really small asteroids, because when the water hits it, it's going to hit the highest points of elevation, and it's just going to, because once the water, when a storm comes through, it's just basically it has zero gravity until it hits an asteroid. So it's just this suspended field of rain droplets that are just hanging in space, that's being pushed by the moon's current wave. So it's being pushed around orbit, and when it hits an asteroid, once it enters that asteroid space, that 100-mile space that 60-mile asteroid would occupy, once it gets within that space, it'll start raining on that asteroid in the direction of wherever the storm is coming from. And so it'll naturally hit, and then the elevation and the topography will naturally form. In this instance, this is where all the water naturally drains down and gravitates to after a rain cloud comes through and hits the asteroid and sweeps through. So, when the longer it takes for another rainstorm system to come through, is the longer it's going to take for this pool, is going to dehydrate and potentially dry up. So we can have some very arid asteroids where rain doesn't happen very often, and we can have more temperate or tropical asteroids where rain hits frequently or regularly. So we can have different patterns that are built. Like the Unseelie Court might be in a tropical zone that has tons of rainwater, and is So there you go. That's that idea. So we have our topography. We have our forest resource top and bottom. We have the middle strip, which is the arable land middle strip where the water is gravitating towards. We have more community clustered around. This is going to be where our port is at. We have the last piece that we need to figure out for now is, oops, that was dumb. Let's go to the actual document. So Capital Rock, it has these are the main resources that it has: gardens, greenhouses, barracks. Like it has 4,000 people. It could have any kind of structure building. Like it could have an observatory if we wanted it to, but it would probably, since it's not, it has an observatory. So like it's a second-rank observatory. It's going to have a decent optics on it, because it's going to be keeping an eye out for weather systems that are coming in, like literally looking upstream to see what's coming downstream towards us. What kind of weather can we see coming our way, by using the magics of the observatory to peer forward down the path to see what weather is coming our way. That's how they would use the observatory the most. The larger your community, the more powerful optics and magic you can have. The further you can see away to see what's coming around for you, the better you can predict what's going to happen to your community weather-wise and crops and blah, blah, blah. So you can make predictions that way. You can read the orbit of the planets because you can watch where they're going around in orbit with you, since they're in basically this slalom with you at all the time. You can have an idea of like, oh, here comes a big storm system that's sweeping down from the outer reaches of Shavareth. It's passing through Mabar,
It could be picking up some undead. We might expect to have like some an unusual amount of poltergeists in our old haunts for the next couple months. Like we might have events like that pop up based on what the weather is bringing from the different planes of the moons that are dragging through them. See how that kind of works? So it creates this fun topography where the locations stay the same, but different things afflict them. Different things are happening. Like we're having a whole bunch of Mabar is manifesting across us right now. So things are going bump in the night a lot more. And there's like night terrors and poltergeists like we were talking about, and raids and shit like that. Vampires coming out to eat people. Who knows? Like now we have space pirates that have been riding this Mabaran storm that's been sweeping inward. And it'll eventually get to Eberron and then disperse itself. And it'll naturally go to Karnath, where there's a lot of Mabaran manifest zones. That wind will eventually find its way to Karnath, and that's where that storm system will end up dropping from the sky, from orbit, mixing in with the storm, and empower manifest zones during that cycle. So, but these are the outstanding, like the notable things in the community. And by in the community, that means either, typically it's going to mean the central structure, like the central mass where all the third and second ranked stuff is. Out here in all these little spots, these are basically first ranked hamlet communities. And up in here, these could be considered villages. These lumberjack communities are basically small villages of over 100 lumberjacks working together to work all the wood up here. These are small hamlets where each little cluster community is less than 100 people working this triangle of farmland. So that's the idea, different levels of density. So out in these small pocket farms, like if we had plantations on a larger planet, like we might see like a 50-mile space where it's like its own closed community of like this rancher collective that forms its own town inside of the larger city complex. Like this region is inside of this collective, like this HOA organized homeowner association here controls this zone of the neighborhood, while this smaller HOA over here controls this zone of the neighborhood. Like you could have border rivals along the neighborhood borders of the larger homeowners association attempting to perform lawfare on this smaller HOA to force them to spend effort and orders fixing the line of repair instead of them having to use their orders to fix the fences that divide their neighborhoods. Instead, they're using their order to attack this smaller HOA with litigation, forcing them to surrender their bastion points as orders, so they're having to surrender some of their resources to accept having to do this HOA command of fixing these fences. Like that's like lawfare at the neighborhood level. Like if you wanted to play D&D neighborhoods where like the kobolds and the goblins aren't getting along and they're little cheery green skin neighborhoods, you can make a sim sort of thing out of it using the 5e game engine, using this sort of mentality. So so we have all these little small communities here. The larger, so these larger squares here. So this is 4 squares, 1 square, 2 squares. So first rank community, second rank community, third rank community, and if it was a fourth rank community, we'd probably have it like occupying like a 3x3 space. So it'd be like 15 by 15 miles, and then fourth rank would probably have like a core of like 20 miles. And then a metropolis would basically have 20 miles, but it would like grow up to 25 miles. Like it would just keep adding squares onto it as denser and denser population center amassed in that area. You see what I'm saying? So I think we have a good topography. We have a good land dispersion. We now know that anywhere that we're looking at second rank communities or second rank second rank stuff, that's first rank stuff is where first rank means is not very well, because these facilities go from first to fifth rank, and the higher rank they are, the more stuff they can do. Like a menagerie can operate on and work with more and more exotic or higher CR creatures the higher rank the menagerie gets. Like this, at this rank, at first rank, we've basically got like Pegasus.
Like there's some flying creatures that we've cultivated on this rock to make movement, maybe making movement around the asteroid easier for higher class people. So this menagerie is capable of up to CR1. Let's double check that real quick. What is the CR of a Pegasus? I bet it's a CR2. Let's go D&D Beyond, and let's look up Pegasus. CR2. Am I good or what? So up to CR1 for a first rank menagerie. A second rank menagerie can handle up to CR2. Up to CR4. It's 5. Up to first, up to fifth. Was it 1, 5, 9, 13, up to 13th, and then 14 CR or higher is 5th rank. Yeah, up to first, up to 5th, up to 9 CR, up to 13 CR for 4th rank menageries, and then a 5th rank menagerie can handle anything, any CR up to 30 plus. They have the ability to figure it out. So Pegasus is CR2. So if I want to have Pegasus, Pegasi as part of this community, we're going to have to upgrade the menagerie from 1 to 2. So that means we have to deplete something. What are we going to deplete? Let's deplete the garden, because we're currently limited to second rank crop fields because of the cold snap from the Frisia Manifest Zone is killing our crops. So that means that the garden is acting less effectively. I'm gonna put an and symbol after that. And symbol, damaged by Frisia Manifest Zone. And that can't improve until the Manifest Zone is removed. And I'm going to put, this could, if it keeps getting colder, this will eventually erode down to 1. Currently, their crops aren't capable of providing more food than for 1,000, normally it'd be up to 1,000 people. Or they've got 2 orders that they're issuing. What are their orders? Harvesting plant materials, lumber, and they have 2 orders that they're issuing for planting for plant materials. So they're doubling down, which means each at second rank can at most do 1,000. They have enough people to do that. They're issuing 2 orders, which means it'd be a 2,000 normally. But there's a druid that's in the community that goes to all the different asteroids over the course of the year, casting plant growth rituals for 8 hours to double the crop production as a 3rd level spell. So each 1,000 mile order that they can issue is producing 2,000. So they can produce, with the help of the druid and really focusing on harvesting food currently inside the cold snap, they can produce up to 4,000 people worth of crop food or plant or food, like farm shit, like eggs and pig and beef and stuff like that, without being specifically ranchers, just having incidental like ducks and chickens and shit like that, side meat sort of stuff. That's not really a massive output for the community. They've got 1 going into lumber, they've got 2 going into crops, double timing it to make sure they provide enough materials because of that complication. If they didn't have that complication, they would be operating at 3rd rank, which means that they would be able, with a single order in time, be able to produce enough food for 10,000 people in the space that only takes 5,000 people. They have that space on this rock. They could grow in density, potentially, but they couldn't really get past 10,000. They're kind of capped on the size. We were looking at that earlier. The size of the asteroid is limiting them to never be able to, even with druidic help, expand beyond 10,000 population on a 60-mile rock. Anything larger than a 60-mile rock can start pushing beyond 10,000 miles. So we know that a 60-mile diameter asteroid is the limit, the absolute limit for what a town can produce. If you want to become a city, you have to be on a larger rock, like a 100-mile plus rock is what you would need to have. So there you go. All that math works out really, really nicely. It's kind of amazing. So what are we doing? Okay, so we're looking at, so we know how the orders are being distributed, and we know how we're able to produce that food. Generally, what we look at is the idea was to be the rank of the rank of a structure is going to determine what type of community it can be in. Since we have the first, second, and third rank locations, that's going to largely dictate the community facilities that are available in each of them. So, if it's third rank, it has to be in the central town. If it's second rank, it could potentially be out here in these lumber mill communes. And if it was first rank, it could potentially be in one of these little hamlets. We don't have anything of first rank in any of these, but Capital Rock itself is third rank. And there's a number of unique bastions, unique structures or standalone organizations that exist within this community somewhere. So those are going to become points of interest. We know that the Dol Araz Bastion is the governing bastion of Capital Rock. And it's a third rank, and its focus is as a sacristy, as a church to Dol Ara, which is the sovereign of sun and sacrifice. She represents wisdom in battle and is a patron to those who seek justice, fight with honor, and make sacrifices for others. That's the theme that drives the main community that runs this asteroid and the entire asteroid cluster. So its sacristy is here for sure. I'm not necessarily sure how to depict this quite yet. But see how we have multiple menageries here? Inside of Dol Ara's Bastion. So it's capable of operating third rank bastion, which means up to a CR9 creature. And we already were just looking at and decided that menagerie, we have Pegasi on this island, which I think would be really cool for Pegasus riding clerics to have created a temple here in worship of Dol Ara. I just think that's kind of cool. So there we go, Pegasi. They have Pegasi here. And Dol Ara specifically has Pegasi as well, advanced Pegasi. And the smithy, scriptorum, like these are all the things that are inside the temple specifically, but the community as a whole has these things in general as well. So apparently observatories is, for Pegasi spotting equals tracking Pegasi. That makes so much sense. Library, that's going to be in the main town for sure. So let's look at this main town. The sanctuary is also in the main town. Temple, because of the Dol Ara temple, that's the headquarters. Guild hall, that's going to be operative in farms. Woodsheds, wood mills, and town. Greenhouses are going to be in farms and town. So the farms can have greenhouses, but only up to first rank. The greenhouses in the home, like they have like hanging gardens, like massive, like all the fruit and stuff that you would expect in the community is basically going to be like in hanging gardens inside the town proper. Barracks up to third rank. We have 400 active and 400 in reserve. Let's see. So we're going to have 400 here. So we probably need to have some fortress standouts, right? So let's make circles be fortifications. So we'll have we're going to have fort. So we're going to have, this is our far territory away from everyone else. So we're going to put a fort of 100 here. Let's have another fort at the tip.
Fort, fort, fort. We need a third fort. Let's put it here, by this lake. That makes sense, right? Let's put it right here. So these are garrisons of 100 troops each at the poles, and then basically equidistant from each other. I mean, there's a little bit of a stretch over here. Let's move this one to here. Oh, yeah. Let's put it here. That's a good spot. That actually feels a little empty. Let's take it back to where it was. I like that best. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll have dot. A garrison of 400 here. So this is where all of our central intelligence is at, all of our major resources for barracks. Let's see, so the 400 reserves are out in these communities. So we'll have 400 reserve, 100 active, 25 per fort. Central garrison. Menagerie, Pegasi, capital, and polar forts. Library, main town, main temple, and then we don't worry about lifestyle and stuff like that. There. And now we have orders, and we have the individual bastion that's inside of the main town, which is the temple, the Dol Arad bastion, but then we have other locations. We have the core, which is a spy network, Druid's Enclave, which is a first rank little nothing out in the middle of nowhere, so we know where to put that, right? Druid's Enclave, and then the teleportation circle. That's capitalized and it shouldn't be. So the teleportation circle is a third rank facility, so that has to be in the town. Located. We can do this by going like this. Located in town. Druid's Enclave. Located. Located, remote, isolated spot. The core, which is the spy network, it's second rank. A salvage drone network facility that can pilot animated ornithopters remotely. Oh my god, that's fucking crazy. We came up with that? Okay. Is that? I'm gonna use some Oracle dice real quick. I get the feeling that's not actually inside the capital. That it's at the pole. That's like why it's at. I bet it's at one of the forts, right? So, no. Bastion size say no. It's not at one of the forts. Is it at a new undisclosed location? No. So it's in the town. Yeah, it's in the town. Okay. Located in town. Bastion Rock. Located in town. So all these unique bastions are the temple bastion, which is technically the seat of government
that rules. It's, I guess, technically a theocracy of sorts, kind of. The spy network with the drones that they've been building. But then the druid, and then the teleportation circle is also in town. And then there's the druids enclave, which is off all by itself. So where is that druids enclave going to be? It's a first rank facility, so, or a first rank bastion. So it's not going to be more than a hamlet. So it could be out here among the. Is it going to be out among the farmlands? Is that what type of a druid enclave is? Let's look at it again real quick to see what it has. Settlement, and it's harvesting plant materials. What kind of materials? We haven't determined what kind of plant materials it's creating yet. So sacristy, government, settlement, gaming hall. It's its own little thing. Does that mean, is it one of the, is it located in one of the forest villages, the forestry villages? No, it's not. Is it located near one of the poles? Yes, it is. Is it near the southern pole? Yes, it is. Let's see. So it's in one of these 5 triangles. Is that the fort? No. Okay, should I roll a d5 to see which one? No. Is at the base of one, but actually in the... Okay, so it's in the base of one... Oh! Right here. That's our Druid Enclave. Why'd that go weird? Hey, getting the hiccups on me. Let's press save. There we go. So it's kind of near the forestry. It's kind of near the farms. It's on the far end of the pool of the lake from the reserves fort. Nice. Oh, let's put 300 troops here, and we'll put 100 and 200 here, or rather, 125 is actually accurate. 125. This has 25 of 100. 25 of 100. 25 of 100. It's just basically enough to handle some siege weapons and direct some traffic. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, there you go. That's our first community. So this is also the most complicated community. It was the biggest one. So what we're going to do next time is I'm going to go ahead and call it quits here. It's getting late. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes. Going to call it a night. I'm going to be back on tomorrow morning. We're going to do more Eberron art in the morning, and then on Wednesday morning, and then Thursday morning we'll be back. We'll do another one of these. So we have 6 communities total. So we've just broken down how to do one of these. We're going to do another one on Thursday. We have 6 total to build. We're building asteroid communities. This is what I mean by building asteroid communities. We now have a fully functioning geology, geography, topography, resource management, population distribution, and different centers and points of interest. This 60-mile asteroid could be a ton of fun for any campaign from, like, say, level 1 to 5 before they graduate to becoming sheriffs of the entire cluster. But we're going to start at 5th level with them already being established as the community sheriffs. We're just going to build out these. This is the terrain. Like when kaiju attack, they're going to choose one of these different squares to attack. They're probably going to avoid population centers because that's where people will attack them. So they're probably going to want to, like, attack out here, or like maybe attack out here where nothing's being dealt with right now, or like over here. Like these might be the different. Like I'll roll a d20 to see which
triangle the kaiju is at each hour for however many, because we roll how many hours is the kaiju going to be at a location. And while it's there, we'll roll each hour, we'll roll a d20 to see which location it's at, to see what it's attacking and trying to chew up. And we'll see, like, that's how long it takes for the team to get there. This is the stuff that it's chewing on. So that's the narrative that goes on behind it, for the reason why we want to fight those kaiju, to protect each individual triangle on our asteroid community. So the next asteroid community is going to be smaller. So it's going to, I like this idea. I'm thinking if we can get away with it, is just change the scale of the square so that we can have the same community, but it's operating at a different scale. Otherwise, we might make the triangles smaller and keep the squares. The squares being 5 miles is super fucking convenient, you know. So maybe we'll make the actual triangles smaller to indicate smaller areas. And then if we have to get down to 1 mile, so we'll go from 1 mile squares and 5 mile squares, we'll break them up that way, maybe. That's the thought. We'll figure it out with the next asteroid that we build. So hey, if you guys thought this stuff was cool, I do this on Mondays and Thursday nights. I do artwork Monday through Friday through the books that I'm going to publish. Saturday morning, I do color magic for Magic the Gathering using the color magic spell point system that we built for 5th edition to replace Vancian spell slots and the 8 schools of magic. We use Magic the Gathering color mana instead. That's a fantastic system. We'll be building that out more on Saturday, and hopefully have some people playing Mage Tower with me on Saturday morning. So I'll put out a call. We're looking for 7th level characters to do some PvP rugby, using 5e combat mechanics to score points on goals or kill each other and then score points and then get resurrected at the end of the match, and then attack each other again and see who can score the most points. So that's the PvP arena system that we've been building. We're playtesting that for funsies on my Discord server, which is linked down below. Like and subscribe. Check out my books. Buy some if you think they're cool. They'll have free previews. They're chock full of my art and ideas. And we got maybe like 2 weeks left to the Eberron adventure that we're publishing in the morning, and then we're going to pick up one of these other books that we've been working on and start building them into PDFs for us to publish on the DMsGuild. So if you want to be part of that ride, stick around, and I'll catch everybody in the future. Thanks for being here. Bye.